The Object Show is a long-standing web series created by Jack and Jellyfy. The show, one I've never actually seen, apparently spawned a bunch of fan shows including animations by artist Shout Hair, of whom it got a lot of attention in April 2025 for the old animations, and apologizing for a lot of not-so-good things that they've done. Hello, I'm Dovin, and we're gonna look into what happened. If you've ever seen Shout Hair before, it's probably from their crispy clean animations or even their Object Terror show. Previously going by Lego Boy and Jay, they've been infamous to the community that I only learned about since reading their apology. Also, as a preface, to not go attacking anyone mentioned in this video. If you have anything to say, you can leave it in the comments, maybe after you like and subscribe. Thank you. Anyway, Shout gained meme fame on Twitter for the Little Lexmas animations featuring their wild character doing some weird things. And when I've seen these things spammed on Twitter like a really lot. And I'll go into the meaning of the animation a bit later in the video, as yeah, there's a little backstory to it. April 25th, 2025, Shout dropped their apology over a lot of bad things they'd done. They did this seemingly after getting a lot of attention for their little old animations that they created. We won't go through this verbatim, but a link to the full documents will be in the description of this video. Also, if you could stop drawing and scrolling your phone every once in a while, you know, while you're eating, whatever you're eating over there, because YouTube is a visual medium, and I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying sometimes, you know? And while I have you, what you eating? What you drawing? Leave in the comments below. Thank you. Also, I'm gonna be a guest at MomoCon 2025. Hope to see you there. So Shout starts off the document wanting to apologize to a multitude of individuals, mainly during his time with the Object Show community from 2015 to 2020. They state they don't expect forgiveness, sympathy, or any place in the Object Show community again. He just wants closure. The first apology goes to Gino Steamed Milk, of whom he called the N-word back in 2019, while also drawing them as a racist caricature. Apparently also drawing suggestive art to their OC Honey when they were 11, not knowing their age at the time. They don't specify what year, so I don't know, maybe this is like 2019 earlier, or maybe 2015? I don't know. For Wuggle Wuggaloo, Shout drew not safe work of the characters without the consent. They believed drawing not safe work could get object lockdowns in popularity, but Wuggle was uncomfortable and Shout ignored their concerns, also using the wrong pronouns and nicknames back in 2020. For Snowpackle and his friends, again, drawing not safe work of the characters back in 2020. It seems like a pretty consistent thing, I would say. For Rival and Phoebe, Shout ripped their Object Madness assets in 2017 for his Object Terror series. For Fusion, Wamdu, and others, he sent disturbing subject material during 2016 to 2018. For the saying they attempted to add bomb scene to OT5, and claiming to put a rape scene in OT6. Acknowledging the prior writing style of edgy defensive humor, saying they won't abide by that writing style anymore. For the stating they were sorry for the abundantly racist and sexualized mannerisms done throughout their entire time with the Object Show community. Shout said they were born in a small conservative town with no internet access until he was 13. The Object Show community was seemingly the only thing in their lives, as their RL self dealt with racist and homophobic classmates while also getting bullied for having Asperger's. You must also remember this is like the highlight of the channels like iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, and H3H3, so like, what was that famous catchphrase from iDubbbz that he said a lot and he tried normalizing? What was that phrase? I can't say it, but maybe you remember what I'm talking about? Anyway, Shout grew out of this behavior, and as Tongton worked with a lot of people of a wide variation of talents and cultures, saying how he doesn't need to make tasteful jokes regarding minorities anymore because of how much he has come to love and truly appreciate every single one of them. Shout says they don't want to be that kind of person anymore and wants to move on. He ends the apology by stating he doesn't seek sympathy or forgiveness, just closure. Reiterating that he doesn't want to be associated with the Object Show community, nor continue Object Terror after the 6th and final episode. Ending on the statements that they have done unforgivable things throughout the time that has affected many people, and because they are this broken tool whose realized too late the way of their actions, well, need to rely on somebody else. Of course, I can't speak for anyone mentioning this apology, because I'm not them, obviously. No, I say if this apology is 100% good or bad. From what I gathered, they were surrounded by awful people at a very young age for quite a long while, and they tried to escape online to the Object Show community. However, a lot of their RO influences seeped into their interactions, doing some racist and drawing a lot of nice safe work of a lot of people's characters. There seems to be an understanding of what they did wrong and feel bad about what they've done. There's an important note, it doesn't seem like he was trying to groom anyone, just that he was a dick drawing porn of people's characters that really shouldn't have been drawn. And I didn't see anyone mention the grooming, so glad they didn't do that part. Many people would ask why now of all time to respond to this. Well, sometimes you need time to get better in order for people affected to see any sort of change. That an apology released too early can seem insincere, out of pocket. Not that any sort of easing into can prepare you for anything actually said in this, especially for a lot of people who just didn't know what was going on. And I'd seen some people claim they changed usernames to hide from their past mistakes, but like, you could say that if they didn't have a bunch of references in their videos talking about it, and the fact that they talk about it in this thing right here. I think the old username just doesn't work for them, as they don't seem to make Lego content, and it's totally a name you made when you were a kid that you're like, yeah, I gotta change this. Sometimes you don't strike gold at the start, and you gotta try again later. And of course, this wouldn't be the first time Shout would respond to any of this. An earlier time would be the third animation, the Lexmas trilogy, made back in 2020. You know, the thing that people keep sharing on Twitter. It was apparently an event piece made after being called out for the aforementioned things. But it's been 5 years since that animation came out, and I'm gonna assume people can change in nearly half a decade. Kakaprokai would make a tweet the same day as the apology saying, "Artist, has this ever happened to you?" To which they apparently drew fan art of the wallet OC and felt bad drawing it after finding out about what happened. That very wallet would appear on many people's timelines. Even Twitter creator Midas would make reference to it, saying this looks like something that gets a weird ironic Twitter fandom that turns unironic and gets an FNF on because of it. The two main scenes from Legs Plus 3 that people would share on Twitter would be this clip of the wallet character drinking liqueur and moaning, as well as slapping their animated girlfriend. Many quote tweets of the apology would make fun of Showit when referencing this TikTok about drinking water. Whenever there's a situation like this, people would just go through your posts and just find other things to make fun of you for to extend the length in which people talk about you. People would also start quote tweeting unrelated memes to the apology, possibly as a way to bring more attention to it, I guess, or just because it's something everyone's talking about. One tweet that would completely ratio Showit's would have the picture of Steve from the Minecraft movie saying, "Google Docky," though Twitter user Hoshi no Cosmo would comment on the Google Docky meme saying, "I wonder how many people are going to earnestly open up events about their misfortunes through Google Doc and be met with this." Of course, a lot of these responses would be expected and standard spammy stuff for the website. Making any sort of Google Doc about whatever you got yourself into leaves a sour taste in many people's mouths. Also coming from the fact that all of this came from an object show wallet animation from 5 years ago, many people would cling on to the absurdity of this animation and the situation as a whole, of which would actually follow Shout off of the Twitter platform. People would harass them on Blue Sky, quoting the old animations and spamming the same phrases over and over on the YouTube channel, both in videos and community post comments. For more specific document responses, Ivykit would quote tweet the apology saying that, "I'm not going to comment on the doc itself, but please realize how the people who actually knew Shout here personally are trying to take this seriously, some of them even accepting the apology, while the rest of the quote tweets are a bunch of cornballs miserably failing to be funny," which, as I mentioned before, is kind of to be expected on a platform like Twitter. Snowy Packets responded to the Shout here stuff before the apology released, on April 22nd, saying, "Do people not know the extent of things that Lego Boy and Jay has done? Like, he didn't just call Gene the N-word. Do people know he drew porn of my friends' OCs when we were like 14 and 15? Further stating, this guy sucks, and I only felt need to say this because I'm seeing people with like tens of thousands of followers outside the object show community make fan art of wallets in the big 2025, and they're none the wiser. People just want to make fan art to the new funny Twitter meme." As of the writing of this video, and as shown on screen, they have not since responded to the apology. Wogolo would quote tweet the apology saying, "Thank you for the apology, really well written. For the staying, this is only a reference to the parts affecting them, and apologizing for endorsing and spreading the word about some of the bad behavior in their friend circles." Lastly stating that Shout seems to be in a better place, and it makes more sense to apologize now, at least in their opinion. I'd also tried to find if other people mentioned the donk made a public response to the apology, such as Swapdo, but as of the writing of this video, they just haven't said anything publicly. Honestly, I don't think this will be the last time we see the Wallet OC make rounds on Twitter. To refresh your memory, Twitter Blue creators get money from reactions, and if you've seen my video over JoeCat, talking about old art drama always brings back attention, and people are still on that animation from JoeCat from long ago. And even more so than making a video, you can just make the exact same post verbatim months later and still get a lot of people talking about the same thing over and over and over again. As for Showits and the things they have done, it's wishful thinking to hope that a bad person leaves, but that's seldom the case. Sometimes the worst thing an awful person can do is want to get better. Not in the sense you must forgive and forget, rather sometimes people are just two-dimensional. To feel guilt and to feel shame for past behaviors is something sometimes hard to do and really prove from our outside perspective. But even with their apology, many people did not take it seriously and just continued to want to make fun of them. All of this attention and harassments from their apology would lead Showit to attempting suicide. 2 days after the release of the apology, his boyfriend warned people that anyone in the New York or Toronto area should be on lookout for them. Showit's goal was to reach Toronto and kill themselves in that city. Their boyfriend got in contact with the New York City Police Department and would later be in custody in Niagara Falls. Showit would later return to the parents at their home. This part of the story is less talked about, but very important to discuss. At the beginning of these sorts of videos, I mentioned not to attack anyone and to keep discussion in the comments of the respective videos. Talking about real people, there are real consequences when harassment is spammed at individuals. All of the quotes, replies, and comments responding to this contributed to this. I won't assume that everyone making fun of them wanted this to occur, but you should keep in mind there's always this possibility that the end result of mass harassment could be this. And this isn't to say that I'm above this. It's not as if I haven't been a part of things like this. But growing older, I think about impact and if joining and making fun of really is the best thing I should do, even if I might get likes and attention at the moment, like many of the people you've seen before. Luckily, people like Wugala would bring attention to this and share it with their followers. One person who has mentioned the doc that I didn't talk about before actually reacted to this apology. That would be Gino, or Steamed Milk. They would share a lot of quote tweets making fun of Showit. Then when the news came out about their attempted suicide, they would tweet, "This whole situation has gone way too fucking far, man. Look at this." Someone would comment who's at fault, with Gino saying, "You tell me." Perhaps Gino saw Showit being clowned on and thought this would be their time to publicly get at them for all of the years of pain that they had caused them. Proceeding after the initial post, Gino would continue to argue with people about the situation. Usually at this point in my videos, I read replies to the situation, but I asked my audience this before I'd found out about the attempt on their life. I don't think these responses would be fair or accurate to read, but I do thank everyone who gave in their 2 cents regardless. This isn't an easy discussion, as situations like this aren't purely black and white, especially when it comes to things done very long ago. This video isn't to absolve any of the past actions, nor is it in any way defending them. But continuing on with that train of thought, suicide is not the answer, nor is driving someone to it. I don't think this internet dog pile is good for the mental health of anyone involved. To dismiss someone seemingly wanting to do better for the sake of being part of the crowd. Showit, formally addressing their past and trying to make amends with those they have wronged, is a healthy step you'd want for someone formerly doing awful things. Like Wigolo said, Showit is seemingly in a better place than they've been all these years ago. Even with the setback, I hope they're getting the help they need to overcome this. Situations like this leave a sour taste in my mouth. It has started, as it sometimes does, with old animations being brought up, leading the creator getting exposed for something in their past. However, in this case, the creator opening up about their misdeeds, they are subjected to further mockery and ridicule, leading to depressive thoughts and feelings. But even with this note, I want to leave you with something more. Check on your friends and family to see how they're doing. Don't let being part of a crowd lead to regrettable actions such as what you saw on Twitter. You don't want to be the final knife that draws the last blood. But to end this on a more positive note, I want you all to keep drawing and creating. Spreading joy and kindness to those around you, being more positive doesn't cost anything, it's pretty nice to do. Just like how I got some nice fan art to my new OC Samantha. Yeah, they did a great job. And as for me personally, I got my student loans completely forgiven. And the website's read 0. Look at that. Wow, I can't believe it. Thank you. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that, I would say. And I wish the same happiness to you. I've been Dovin, and best you keep on drawing, and have a good day. Please have a good day.